In this section, I would like to explain about the Django with DB. Okay. So DB means database. So we are going to learn how to create database in Django, and then how we can access the data. And yeah, we will learn about the query. So if you join the database class, I think you can understand how to create the data, and then how to create the table, how to delete, and etc. But if you have not joined the database, I think this introduction will be helpful for you. Now, we are going to make a new application, and in Django, there are many files that you will create at the first time. So this will be the order of the code. When you create the application, we call it the application, we will have the framework coding. The framework coding means you need to start the project. So later you will see what you will do to start the project. And then you will do some setting. The one that we already learned before, we do the setting. We just get the setting, where is the database and etc. We will do the migrate, because when we have table, or when we have the user, we need to create. So I will teach you also about the create super user. We are going to make an admin. And then the stop app, we are going to make an app. So this app is not the app from the smartphone, but we can also say this is an app in the website. So we can also set the app into the settings, the TY. So after we finish the framework coding, we will do the model coding. So the model coding means we are going to make the model. And when we create the model, there will be some steps. First, we will do the modeling in the model.py. And then we will do the administrator. We will register the admin. And usually we will do the migration. After we finish with this one, we will do the common ways, like you already did before. We will check the views.py. We will check the urls.py, and then we will make some HTML. Okay. So actually this one is the last step, but you already learned last time. Now we are going to learn how to create this first part. So this section will be about this blue color and the green color. Okay, so let's see how we can start. Let's start the project. Okay. I will open the Python, and then let me close this. And let's start a new project. Yeah, I just put the name big project. New project. And then you can choose Django. Yeah, it's up to you what kind of name you want to create. Let me just put the big project here. For the Python interpreter, because you use the professional, you can just have your interpreter like this one. Maybe in the future, if you want to use PyCharm for Django development, yeah, if you cannot have the professional version, you can still create the Django with the virtual environment. So the virtual environment means you will always install Python in that project. Yeah. So I do not want to use this one because it consumes a lot of memory. But yeah, if you don't have the license for a professional, you need to use this virtual environment. And then you know about the settings. So we will use Django, and then the templates folder is templates. And actually you can create your application name here, but I will not use this step. And you can just click this one, enable Django admin, and let's create it. Okay, so this is the Django project. After you start, now let's try to modify something. In the settings.py, you go to settings.py, there is one line about allow host. So what does it mean by this allow host? Now we don't have any host, we just have our local host. Then you can just specify that the host will be the local host. Or usually we can say that the local host is the 127.0.0.1. It refers to the local computer. So you can specify like this one. It means whenever we connect our Django project to the web, it will always use the local host or the 127.0.0.1. So actually, okay, so you can specify the host with the specific name or the IP address. So if you already get a name of your website, let's say you want to publish your personal site in the GitHub, then you can have also the GitHub link here. Yeah, last time there was one student who used the old Django version. So if you use the old Django version, I think you need to modify this directory. So the directory here. So in my computer, it is in the line 57. It will check where is the template. Okay. This is the templates for the HTML file. For the old Django, you need to specify with addition. Okay. And then the template should be started with the slash. So this is for the old Django. And for this database, I'm going to use the SQLite. Maybe you know about MySQL or other database, but this database, SQLite, has been embedded in Django. So you don't need to install. You can just use this SQLite as it is. You can choose the database in the setting. As you can see here, this database means we will use the default engine. This default engine is the SQLite 3. And the database is located in the database folder db.sqlite3. I think in this package, okay? So we can see the DB. Maybe if you use the other kind of OS, if you use different operating system, you need to specify the directory. Because of the Windows, I think you will see all this one. But if you use like Mac or you use Linux, you need to specify what is your operating system, and then you need to have the hat and join to indicate where is the location for your SQLite tree. So by the default, the configuration use SQLite. If you wish to use another database, so you need to install the appropriate database bindings and change the following keys in the database default item to match your database connection. So I hope that by now you understand the Python. As you know, this means a dictionary. So we want to declare what is the database name and where is the location. Now we are using the SQLite tree. If you use another database, you need to specify where is the database location. And then you can specify also the language. In this case, we use the English. If you look at the language code, here is using the English, and the English is the US-based English. As you might know, the English can have several kinds of English categories. You can use the English for the UK. You can have also the English for the Australia. You can have the English for other parts of countries. So in this case, the language cost has been determined by the US. And if you want to change to Korea, then you can change to KO-KR, which is present in Korea. And there are some other languages. So if you are dealing with the Chinese, yeah, you can use like this one. If the traditional Chinese means, yeah, we are going to use the Taiwan version. So I don't know, channel or what language you use. Okay, so you can also specify. Okay, if you want to make your own website. And next is about the time zone. So the time zone now is the UTC. It is the Universal Time Converter. It means whenever you use your data, let's say you want to indicate the current time. So the time will be based on the UTC time. If you want to change this time, you can choose, for example, yeah, we are going to use the Asia time. Then you can change to Asia Seoul. And then there's another component here, use TZ. TZ means time zone. So the default value is true. It means we are going to use the UTC time zone. And the database will use the UTC. But if you put it to false, then yeah, it will create another time zone according to your definition. So if your definition is Asia, so then every time this Django generate time, it will be based on your Asia zone. So it is important, okay, if you make your time. If you later make your team project with the time stamp, it is important. Okay, so at this time, I will teach you how to do the migrate. Because every time we deal with the new data, or every time we deal with the modification of the model, we need to migrate. In PyCharm, it is not that complex to do the migrate because we can see the terminal. Okay. So in PyCharm, they provide the terminal so we can make or we can type what we are going to do in this project. You can look at the Python, and if you can see in the bottom part, okay, in the bottom part of the PyCharm, okay. So here you can see there are some panel, terminal, Python packages, Python console, endpoint, and so on. So later when we create something, it will show you more options. So if it is version control means it is related with the Git. If it is to do means something related with the project. Problems, if you have errors or warnings, it will show. And then this is the terminal. It means it is related with the Python command or the Django command. So you can type any Python command here to do some kind of setting. So here I would like to migrate. So this migrate means I want to adopt all the Django environment into the database, or I want to adopt the Django environment into the local computer. So let's type this one, Python, and then I will run the minutes.py, and then I will do migrate. So I will go to this terminal, it is the local, and then I can type Python minutes.py migrate. Then what you can see here is the migration. It mentioned about the initial, and all the things has been updated, including the session into this computer. So we will do a lot of migration later. Now, I'm going to teach you how to create the super user. The super user means we're going to create a user for administrator. Oh, before I do this, manage the py create super user. So let me show you why we need to run the manage.py. So there's a file here, manage.py. So whenever you create the Django project, you will see this manage.py. It contains the main function. In Python, the main function will be executed to run the administrative tasks. So you can see that this main function will run the default, the Django setting module from the big project. The big project means this is the folder name. And then we are going to run the settings. This settings is the setting.py. So all the settings will be run, or this is the configuration. And it will check whether there is an error or not in the setting. So I hope that by now you understand the try and accept. So this try and accept means, let's try this one. If there is any error, then stop. Raise the error. It means you cannot import the Django, and then you need to check the Python path, and then you need to check all the things, the virtual environment. So this is the first part, or this is always be the main function from the Django. That's why when we do the migration, yeah, it will go to the mainnet.py, and then we will call the function from Django, which is migrate. And then next, you're going to create the super user. So let's do this super user. So we are going to create the super user. It is the administrator. You can put the right here Python minutes.py create super user. Okay. And what you can see here is the username. The username, it means, yeah, you need to create your username for the administrator. Because in this computer, the username is IM. So they recommend if you leave blank, then it means you are going to use IM. It depends on your computer. What is the username in your computer? So let me use the, okay, I will use user in this computer. So in your computer, you can define, maybe just put the same name, okay, user. And then they will ask you email address. Whenever you have problems with the user ID and the password, Django can send the ID and the password to your email address. But I think this is just for practice. I will just use any email address. Maybe abc.abc.com. I don't know whose email address is one. And yeah, you can put your email address in the case you may forget your password. So for easy password, I just use this password. Okay, of IME203. So I will just use the password. In the case if we have problems, all of us we have the same password. Okay. And this password requires some condition. That's why I give that password of IME203. And then they will ask you another password. Sorry, they will ask you to type again the password of IME203. Okay. If everything is okay, then it will show the super user created successfully. It is, yeah, you will need to use this one whenever you access to the administrator. Maybe you will ask, Professor, can we change the password later? Yes, you can. Okay. But I guess it's better to just determine the password in the first time. Okay. Any problem with the first part? I think this one's still easy. What your problem?